ever stood a chance?
The Stranger Things Season 5 Volume 2 trailer has just landed, and without giving us a single second to catch our breath, the first thing we see is the carnage left in the aftermath of Episode 4. But first, welcome back to the channel. Please hit that like and subscribe button while you're here. Today we're breaking down the brand new Stranger Things trailer scene by scene for Season 5 Volume 2, catching all the hidden details and Easter eggs you might have missed. Let's jump in. We start off where Episode 4 ended, with Will just having channeled Vecna's powers. We still see all the military behind him and the massacre from the battle they just barely survived. But at this point, they know their plan to keep the kids safe had failed and were taken by the Demogorgons.
This is not over.
In the very next clip, we transition to a shot of Will sitting next to Joyce at Hopper's cabin. Will says they failed, and they never stood a chance. And then we see a heartwarming moment where Joyce hugs and comforts Will after reminding him that it isn't over yet, not by a long shot. Next, we see Mike outside of the radio tower, as we can see the gravel parking lot and Robin and Will's shoes next to him that matches up with previously released scenes. He looks up to see flashes of red lightning, presumably because dimensions are now beginning to merge from the explosion we've seen over the top of Hawkins Lab. But here, it looks like we see a fourth person, as we can see what looks like the tip of a shoe and a radio antenna sticking out. Then we see Holly and Max crawling through her bedroom mirror after it has been turned into a portal door. And then what looks like an abandoned mine shaft, possibly nearby the caves where Max has been hiding, as they begin navigating through Henry Creel's memories while they try to escape.
This whole time, everything we have ever assumed about the Upside Down.
In the next clip, we see the previously released scene of Nancy, Jonathan, Dustin, and Steve walking towards the Hawkins Lab in the Upside Down, after Dustin's math uncovered that Hawkins Lab was in the direct center of the surrounding flesh wall. As they walk toward it, we can see that at this point the lab doesn't have a floating ball of energy above it, so whatever it is we see later in the trailer happens while they're inside, possibly after Vecna has taken the kids and is channeling their energy.
Has been.
We see them for a brief second as they walk into Hawkins' lab and split up. And then we see Dustin inside the lab after clearly discovering something and saying that everything they've ever assumed about the Upside Down has been dead wrong. Then we have a clip of Holly and Max going through a portal door. We can see through the door that this is at the top of some steps, and again as Holly takes a step downward, as they continue trying to navigate outside of Vecna's mindscape.
Mother of God.
Next, we have Steve and Dustin looking up and revealing a big ball of energy now floating above Hawkins' lab. This scene will come after some of the scenes that happen later on in this trailer. Inside the radio station, we see Elle playing white noise and blindfolding herself like she did in Season 2 when her and Max attempted to spy on Billy, as she attempts to once again locate Vecna.
Help me find him. Kill him.
Then we see Elle at the church in the Upside Down asking Collie for help. This scene will take place just before the blast from the Hawkins Lab that creates the debris field that we'll see them in later. Then we get this shot of Henry Creel out in the rain. We'll come back to this. We transition back to Jonathan and Nancy on the roof of Hawkins' Lab. And now we see the ball has grown, and Jonathan and Nancy are still on the roof as it does explode.
Showtime!
Next, we transition back to Murray's Bradley's Big Buy truck as Murray drives toward the military gate at the Max Z, which confirms one of my earlier theories. He is going to be smuggling the gang into the Max Z, presumably so they can enter into the Upside Down through the gate that we saw Vecna pass through in Episode 4. We see Dr. K and other military members firing at the truck when Nancy channels her own inner Sarah Connor and raises from the roof and begins firing back. She raises up from the hole the Demogorgons left in Episode 4, and we see the edges have foam padding taped down that we've also seen in the back of Murray's truck before.
Kinda thought that was supposed to be the easy part.
It was.
In the back of the truck, we see Robin, Dustin, Lucas, and Will. Then we're back in Vecna's memory prison as Holly and Max are running through the woods like something is chasing them, eventually making it back to the cave. And since the cave is where they go, we can assume that in this scene they are running from Vecna. Then we see Demodogs coming into the hospital and Vicky seeing them for the first time, while Robin is behind her talking to a military guy with their backs turned. More than likely, in this scene, the Demodogs will be sent to the hospital by Vecna for the sole purpose of killing Max, because he will be struggling with her inside of his memories. Vecna will be targeting Max's real body, so that if the Demodogs get to her and kill her, it will essentially render her dead within his mindscape as well. We see Will outside of the radio tower with Mike and Robin as his eyes go white, channeling Vecna's powers once again.
No.
Then we see Mike and Elle in the back of Murray's truck. Elle is in her wetsuit, and we can see Steve behind them. This is the first clip we've seen of Steve having made it out of the Upside Down. This appears to be the same clip we saw earlier of Murray smuggling them into the Max Z before the shootout, but I will note that no one in this scene is visible in the other, and vice versa. This could be Murray doing a completely different trip, or it might be as simple as the other view was toward the front of the truck while this one's toward the back.
Do any of this. If we want to stand a chance.
We see a Demogorgon at the hospital while Lucas, Max, Vicky, and hopefully Robin hide.
Surviving.
Next, we see Steve and Dustin back before they escaped from the Upside Down the first time. We also now see that something melted through all of Hawkins Lab. We can assume now that since there was nothing on top of Hawkins Lab when they arrived, and we see later on the massive ball of energy on the roof, that the ball of energy must have started small at the lower level, gaining in strength as it levitated all the way through Hawkins Lab, melting everything it touched until it finally arrived above the roof.
We need to be a team.
We see Dustin and Mike hugging inside what looks like the upside down Hawkins Lab, with Elle and Hopper behind them. Dustin, Mike, and Hopper still seem to be wearing the same outfit they were wearing in episode 4, but Elle is now wearing her wetsuit. We have a brief clip of Elle in the Upside Down using her powers. We see she has a bloody nose. This might be in the Upside Down Krill house, or it might still be in the Hawkins Lab. We'll come back to this. Then we see the clip of someone falling that we've seen in the previous trailers. Next, we go back to the hospital where the Demodogs are now attacking, as we can see them run right past Vicky, presumably because their task is to find and kill Max. Then we have this insane clip of Vecna shape-shifting between Henry Creel and one at the top of a set of stairs before eventually becoming Vecna. This scene without a doubt takes place in the Wheeler house. I believe that this will come after the scene of Holly and Max climbing through her bedroom mirror, and after the scene of Henry Creel standing outside of the window in the rain. We can see as he's come in, he's removed his wet coat and hat. He's possibly talking to Holly friendly at first, until Vecna begins to channel him. That's when we see the transition begin to happen, and we see Vecna come for Holly. This could be a glimpse into the difference between Henry, One, and Vecna. We know Henry has been kind to Holly, and even gave her the cassette tape and player, which we know is a possible key to escape. As we see the transition go back and forth between Henry and One, we can see what little good that's left in Henry transform to the corrupt portion that's taken him over through the changing facial expressions. We see the explosion from Hawkins Lab, but now we're traveling with the energy burst as it travels over the Upside Down toward the flesh wall. Next, we have Collie attacking someone from the military. This looks like it's in the military base inside the Upside Down. So this scene will take place right after Elle and Hopper find her, and they're trying to escape. This scene looks like a wall of dryers, probably in the hospital, and as we can see, if we stop it just right, the explosion seems to be taking out at least one Demodog. Next, we see Robin cranking the voltage, which is a callback to episode 1 when she tells Steve to turn down the voltage unless he wants to be fried. They've somehow managed to hook a Demogorgon up with what looks like jumper cables on the roof of the voltage building that sits underneath the radio tower.
You die, I die.
We see Steve and Dustin talking with what looks like a stockpile of weapons for whatever mission they're about to start behind them. We see Steve's red bandana that he has on in the back of Murray's truck from earlier, and Dustin in his ghillie suit. We also have the emotional callback with the "If you die, I die" quote from Season 3. That better not be foreshadowing something, or so help me. Next up, we see Dustin running to get out of Hawkins Lab. We see Jonathan and Nancy being thrown back by the blast. We have Elle ripping apart vines with her powers. This scene looks more like it's still inside Hawkins Lab.
You die, I die.
We come back to see Dustin respond to Steve. They're best friends again, and this better not be foreshadowing something, or so help me. Next, we see Elle and Hopper in the debris field from the explosion, but this time we can see a collie behind Elle, and Elle crushes a stone just before it hits them. Then we see what looks like the sky opening up. This is probably what they're all seeing in the clips of them looking towards the sky. And finally, we end with Vecna being lowered by the tentacles that connect him to the hive mind down onto what looks like his version of the throne room. Let me know what you spotted that I might have missed. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives and theories and trailer analysis, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.